1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, hello.
I'm in the studio here at the Harvey Glad Studios here in Phoenix, Arizona. Why am I here?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Because I am tired of the cold. And in the studio with me, none other than the man that used to know Tom Snyder, that had the Late Show with Tom Snyder, none other than...
Dr. Ian Clark, we used to swap cigarettes.
Yes.
Those are the days you could smoke on the air.
Those were the days. Like Morton Downey Jr.
Oh, God bless him. Long gone. Yeah, he was a smoker.
He was. He enjoyed them, too. He loved his Marlboros. He loved them.
He just hacked them up all day.
So today, Ian, this is a subject you brought up to my attention. I said, you know what? I will dig deep into my brain and see what I have. What is the topic?
Well, Mr. Kennedy and I, over the years, have discussed this subject back and forth. We've thrown it around, and we're going to try to get an interesting angle on it. And that subject is rock and roll in movies, or rock and roll movies. You're going to have to decide that. We'll make it up as we go along. I'll explain. Is the documentary Woodstock a rock and roll movie? A rock-you-docu, as they say? Is the movie Almost Famous, about a reporter following a fictional band, a rock and roll movie, or just a coming-of-age drama? As you can see, you're never going to get a concrete definition, though I do attempt one later, a little bit later. I'll talk about that. So we decided to steer it right down the middle. We're in the middle lane. It's a lot more fun doing that. And we are nothing but A-list funsters here, so that's where we're going to hang. And we're going to call it Rock and Roll Goes to the Movies. To begin, let's get Rolling Stone magazine's top 10 rock and roll movies out of the way, because as you know, Rolling Stone is a top 10 of everything.
Oh my goodness, are they ever?
No, number 10, Quadrophenia from 1973. Yeah, The Who's, I think it's a double or a triple album. I have it anyway. It's a good movie, and it's based on, I think, The Who's greatest album, probably aside from Who's Next, but much better than Tommy, in my opinion. Number 9, School of Rock, with Jack Black. Never did much for me. It's kind of fun. I don't know. Number 8, The Commitments. Excellent movie. It's about starting a band, R&B band in the late 90s in, I guess, Dublin in Ireland. It's very well done. Number 7, we have The Doors. This is an Oliver Stone film, and like anything he does, it's 90% bad, 10% great. And
Val Kilmer played
that's
Jim
right.
Morrison, and it was supposed to be Billy Idol. And he had a motorcycle accident, and he couldn't do it.
You heard it here. Val Kilmer, the spooky story with that is, on that movie, they had a woman, her name will show up to me, I hope. Anyway, she was Jim Morrison's girlfriend, and she had a bit part, and she was a bit of an advisor. She came in one day, and then walking down the hall, for a second she thought she saw Jim Morrison. There he was. It was Val Kilmer as he got closer. And it was so close. The resemblance and the walk he had, it was just right. Anyway, it's a good movie just for that performance, but there's a good reason why Ray Manzarek, keyboardist for The Doors, couldn't tolerate it. Number 6, A Hard Day's Night. This is directed by a guy named Richard Lester, Dick Lester, who had previously done another 60s film called The Knack and How to Get It, with Rita Tushingham. And if you look at that movie, it's the same flavor. They used to call them Hell's a Poppin' movies. And that movie is lots of fun. That's 64 or something. And it influenced a lot of guys to get into rock, especially in the States. Influential movie that way. The trivia on that is it was seen by two guys in Los Angeles, TV producers named Bob Rafelson and Bert Schneider. And they said, you know what? We could just create a fictitious band, put it on TV, and base it on this movie. And this called The Monkees. There you go. No Hard Day's Night, no Monkees, no Easy Rider, no New Hollywood. Called Linkage, folks. You heard it here. Number 5, Tommy. Tommy. Yeah.
Another Who movie?
Another Who movie.
That's a Who movie, yeah.
And Ken Russell directed it, so it's totally gonzo. And I never thought much of it. It's fun, but I just didn't enjoy it. I just thought it was silly after a while. I think Quadrophenia is far superior. Actually, so does Pete Townsend, who's a pretty good authority, maybe. Number 4, this is Spinal Tap. This is a mockumentary. The problem with this movie, I mean, Sting put it really well. He said, when I watch it, I don't know whether to laugh or cry. It's so close to these big dumb metal bands that when it first came out, we thought it was a documentary. That's how well done it is. And that's a Rob Reiner film.
That's what I thought so too when I saw that movie, because it's Rob Reiner, Christopher Guest, and Michael McKean.
Yeah.
And the way they have it labeled is the story of Britain's loudest rock band, a parody heavy metal band. That's pretty well. And I too, when I saw it with my friends growing up, I'm like, who is this band? I never heard it. You know, and they had this other thing like, you know, what was it? Break Like the Wind. That was one of their their things.
Or Sniff the Glove.
Yeah, like it's just funny. And they're in Graceland, and they're in front of Elvis's grave, and they're just butchering his song. You know,
they're horrible. It's just, but they're actually all musicians, good musicians, and they tour. They still tour, and there's talk now of doing a sequel. I'm not crazy about that. But sometimes you just leave things. Almost Famous, number 3. You can give Cameron Crowe, forgive him rather a lot for this, because this movie is outstanding. It was based on his work as a journalist when he was 15 years old. This is in the 70s, early 70s. And it's really based on following around the Eagles for a few weeks. That came out later. And the touching one there is Glenn Frey said to him at one point, just make us look cool. And that's in the movie. So that's kind of touching. Number 2 is The Wall by The Pink Floyd, as they originally called. Yeah, I never thought much of it. Good album, or double, triple album, but I never thought much of the movie. It's kind of a goofy movie with Bob Geldof. But it's like a music video of the time. And number 1 is The Runaways. Like, is Rolling Stone out of their minds? The Runaways, based on the group, you know, Joan Jett. I don't know. Really, The Runaways. I've seen it. It's okay. But the number 1 rock movie, as listeners of this podcast know, I've often commented that Rolling Stone is always looking for ways to appear hip, as if they're not aging hippies. And so they go too far sometimes, and that exposes the seams and the wrinkles. They overpraise fairly mediocre but contemporary references, and this is a point in case. Okay, the second list I'm much more comfortable with. This is from Ultimate Classic Rock. It's in chronological order. I edited it for time. Blackboard Jungle, 1955. I mention this because this is a Glenn Ford movie. It influenced a lot of guys in England. Jimmy Page, Jeff Beck, a lot of guys to really get into rock and roll. Next up, The Girl Can't Help It from 1956. Some amazing performances here. Eddie Cochran, Gene Vincent, Fats Domino, The Platters, Little Richard. If you're into rock, this movie's for you, and the fact that Jane Mansfield is in it doesn't hurt either. Next up, somebody named Elvis Presley. He was in a movie called Jailhouse Rock in 57. Elvis made about 6,000 movies in his life. 2 or 3 of them are any good.
And the rest are B movies.
They're just unwatchable. This is one of the good ones. Go Johnny Go from 1959. Obviously, it's a Chuck Berry gig. Yeah. He's in it. Jackie Wilson, Eddie Cochran, Richie Valens. In fact, Richie Valens died 2 weeks before its release. He was only 17. Next, The Beatles' A Hot Day's Night. I've mentioned it, so I'm not going to dwell on it. Next, The Beatles' Help from 65. It's not nearly as good as its predecessor. I think it's kind of suited the times, if you know what I mean. It's not a kooky, Hell's a Poppin' type movie. Next, they list The Graduate from 67. in no way is this a rock movie. I mean, Simon and Garfunkel do a good soundtrack. It's not a rock movie. Next up is The Beatles' Yellow Submarine from 1968. Folks, this is a cartoon film. It reflects the times. It's very druggy. I don't think that much of it. It's kind of tedious. In fact, the Beatles barely participated in it. They did a promo clip for 30 seconds at the end. They have Midnight Cowboy from 1969. Harry Nilsson did some stuff on it. It's not a rock movie. They have Woodstock from 1970. Yeah, obviously, it's a rock movie. American Graffiti from 1973. Yeah, that's a rock movie. It introduced Wolfman Jack to a big audience, and the soundtrack is great. Son of Dracula from 1974. This is a C movie, really. Maybe a D, with Harry Nilsson and Ringo Starr. It's tolerable. 1978 was The Last Waltz, Martin Scorsese film. It is an excellent rock documentary. 1979, Apocalypse Now. Great songs in The Doors and CCR, but it's not a rock movie. The Big Chill from 1983, amazingly influential soundtrack. It's not a rock movie. You know, they play rock to set the time. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. What?
How's that even considered a rock movie? That's just like that's a cult classic, obviously from the 80s because it was a John Hughes film. But how?
I don't know. Maybe he sings.
Oh, because he sang Donkey Shane and he sang Twist and Shout.
Not a rock movie. La Bamba. Yeah, La Bamba works all the way around. Great soundtrack, great performance, great everything. And it's about poor 17-year-old Richie Valens. Now, I'm going to list my top 10 movies that I've actually seen in no particular order because I'm leery of lists. This is what I look for in a rock movie. It's a film that uses a predominant amount of rock music to help establish a time, place, and emotion. A time, place, and emotion. Here we go. Woodstock. Obviously, time, a place, and emotion. La Bamba, I just mentioned it. Almost Famous, yeah, I mentioned it. Quadrophenia, but the mods in Brighton in England in the early 60s, it is really good. Spinal Tap, we mentioned it. Yeah, maybe not a time and a place, but it nails down metal bands. Monterey Pop, I would argue it's even better than Woodstock, a 1967 Monterey Pop Festival, which was put on by I guess John Phillips, the Mamas and Papas organized it. It is an excellent time capsule. The Buddy Holly story. Wow, what a great movie. Gary Busey, he should have won the Oscar for it, if you believe in Oscars. It was outstanding. The Commitments I mentioned, Sid and Nancy. Yeah, what a great film about the origins of the Sex Pistols and punk rock, and Gary Oldman just knocks it out of the park as usual. And Nashville, a Robert Altman film from the mid-70s. Even if you're not into country music, it is a really good film about the music industry, rather. And lastly, a movie called Once from 2007. It's about folk music in Ireland, and it's a cult movie for good reason. Now, Mr. Kennedy, I believe you have a few cinematic suggestions.
I do have a few cinematic suggestions. The first one I'm going to mention is I guess, Thriller by Michael Jackson. The way that was done, it was about a good 10 to 12 minute dance-a-thon, really, where he starts off in the movie theater with his girlfriend, and they walk, and she didn't like to see this horror movie. They get out, and all of a sudden he turns into, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, it's a werewolf, I think.
The werewolf. So that one was pretty good. I love that one. I do have also Walk the Line on my my list. The story of Johnny and June Cash, or June Carter. To me, Joaquin Phoenix played a really good role of the life of Johnny Cash. So that to me was a good movie.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
I enjoyed it. Obviously, the ever so Almost Famous, can't go wrong with that one. Again, it was based on it was a true story where it was this young high school reporter following a fictitious band, which was called Stillwater, I believe.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
then for those of you that saw the movie, spoiler alert, at the ending, one of the main guys of the band, I guess, went and apologized and said, "Okay, I'll give you that interview now." And this is how it goes. So pitiful. Backbeat was good. It was a Beatles movie. I liked the role that Stephen Dorff played of Stu Sutcliffe, who was the fifth Beatle. So it's basically the story of the Hamburg, Germany phase before they became, the Beatles.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Bohemian Rhapsody, I liked it, but now I started to dislike it because after this movie came out, I just couldn't get it. You can't get enough of Queen. Everywhere you turned, it was Queen, Queen, Queen here, Queen there. Oh my goodness. it was overdone. It was well done, but now it's become overdone.
Yeah, I agree.
Then Rocket Man, disappointed, I think, because of the hype of Queen that came before. I was expecting a little bit more
Good point.
of the life of Elton John and Bernie Taupin. This one I really enjoyed, and I wish my Saturday nights were as occupied as Motley Crue's was, which is The Dirt. That was the life and times of Motley Crue, and that was based actually on their book that they wrote. It is exactly, what is it? It's, 4 members, 7 chapters each. That's how they wrote the book. That's how they have it.
Interesting.
I did have, yes, This Is Spinal Tap on my list. Again, like I thought, talking to Ian earlier, and as we mentioned this show, I too thought it was a real documentary of a real band.
And when it came out, they didn't tell you it was a mockumentary. They said, this is Spinal Tap. We all said, because we knew a bit about music, who's Spinal Tap? So,
the next one I really like is Pirate Radio. And this is with Bill Nighy, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Rhys Ifans, alongside with Nick Frost, who are British comedians. And this is basically a band of rogue DJs that captivated Britain, playing the music that defined the generation, and standing up to the government that didn't want this music on the airwaves. And I just want to point out the soundtrack that they have on here for Pirate Radio. I thought it was worth mentioning it. You got Stay With Me Baby by Duffy, All Day and All of the Night by The Kinks, Eleanor by The Turtles, Judy in Disguise by John Fred and his Playboy Band, Dancing in the Street by Martha and the Vandellas, Wouldn't It Be Nice with the Beach Boys, Ooh Baby Baby by Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, Herb Alpert and Tijuana Brass, they did The Guys in Love. You got some Jeff Beck of Hi Ho Silver, I Can See for Miles by The Who, With a Girl Like You, The Trogs, I'm Alive, The Hollies. I could go on and on, but I will point out that they do also have The Wind Cries Mary, My Generation, A Whiter Shade of Pale, and The Letter. It's a darn good song. So check out that soundtrack. I do recommend it.
It's good.
I have Purple Rain, which I thought was one of the most classic movies of my generation growing up. Obviously, you have Prince, and you got Apollina Cotero playing, I believe, the role of his mother, because he was portraying, I guess, himself. No, sorry, not the role of his mother, excuse me. Portraying himself and how he grew up with his parents. And obviously Morris Day is in there too as his manager, I believe, or agent.
Yeah, that's right, Link.
Yeah. The Rocky Horror Picture Show, Ian, we discussed this one.
Yeah.
Don't know what to make of it. I consider it a musical, really.
It's a musical. I don't know if it's a rock movie.
It's kind of like Chicago. It's a musical, right?
Yeah, really.
So I put it on there. It's with Tim Curry, Susan Sarandon, and Barry Bostwick. So why not? This is the bizarre residence of Dr. Frankenfurter. Another one that I put on here, and I'm very disappointed to see that Rolling Stones did not mention it, and neither did the other list.
All of them are classic rock.
Yeah. Even though they're not considered rock, but yet they are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Straight Outta Compton. This is the story of NWA, and it portrays the life and the stories of NWA. And isn't it funny that Ice Cube's son, O'Shea Jackson Jr., is the one that's playing his dad in the movie? Obviously, spitting image, the resemblance is just canning, and the movie itself is fantastic. I recommend you guys watch that movie. It's about 2 hours long, and it talks about the rap group NWA, how they emerged from the mean streets of Compton in Los Angeles, where the mid 80s, and they revolutionized hip hop culture with their music and tales about the life in the hood. So basically, this is them explaining that, hey, the news is forgetting to mention about us. They're forgetting to mention what happened over here. So those are very important things. I find that it was really great. Then I have The School of Rock, which I thought was a pretty good movie. I like the fact that it's a starving musician that pretends he's his roommate Ned, and he goes and teach music, and why not? So that was good. And then the last one I put on here on my list, which no one's mentioned, I don't know how you want to classify it, but it's The Adventures of Ford Fairlane with Andrew Dice Clay, Lauren Holly, Ed O'Neill, Priscilla Presley, Sheila E., Morris Day, Wayne Newton, and Freddy Krueger himself, Robert Englund.
Interesting cast.
So, and also Tone Loc makes an appearance there. They have some references to In Excess with the koala bear and all that good stuff, so it's pretty funny. I did want to mention, this one here has a shorter soundtrack, but they got some pretty good songs. They got Billy Idol's Cradle of Love, Sea Cruise by Dion. They got Funky Attitude by Sheila E. Glad to Be Alive by Teddy Pendergrass and Lisa Fisher. You got Can't Get Enough by Tone Loc. You got Rock and Roll Junkie by Motley Crue. Check out Andrew Dice Clay's song that he wrote, that he performed, It's about 1:57. It's called I Ain't Got You. Queensryche did Last Time in Paris. Unbelievable, theme from Ford Fairlane, which was done by Yellow. And then Richie Sambora did his own version of The Wind Cries Mary. So these are the movies that I end up putting on my rock list because I have to kind of dig deep and see, well, which ones did I really watch? I did hear about The Commitments. We could have talked about... what's the one that Tom Hanks did?
I know exactly which from the 60s.
She's Some Kind of Wonderful? No.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
From the 60s.
So, again, it was a pop spoof band.
Yeah.
And
they had that catchy song, which I think he wrote. There's so many of them. But, folks, you're just going to have to make up your mind what makes a rock movie. Maybe you can't define it. But I think in your gut you can kind of feel it, right? Some are just... I really don't think like The Big Chill's a rock and roll movie.
No, it's a damn good soundtrack, though.
Good soundtrack. So yeah, whereas obviously something like Woodstock is.
What about the American Pie 50 Years and Counting? What would you consider that one?
I don't know it.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
No.
Oh, I ended up watching the Don McLean story about the American Pie. I guess you want to consider more of a pop culture rockumentary, really, or something that you got to realize that song is so historic.
Oh yeah,
not alone in just music, but in life in general, because it talks about the passing, the day the music died, where it was the Big Bopper, Buddy Holly, and Richie Valens.
Yeah,
and here's a little trivia: Waylon Jennings was supposed to take that plane, and he gave a seat to the Big Bopper.
Yeah, that one of them was sick, had a cold, so they wanted to take the plane. And I know. They flipped a coin on the way.
Wow. That is so eerie.
Well, and I mentioned it before, poor Richie Valens. Buddy Holly was 21. You think all that he did by 21. These guys are so really amazing, right? And the Big Bopper was a former DJ who did a few songs, and he had a son. Like life was different then. They're so young, and anyway. It's the ballroom where they performed. By the way, they've kept it exactly as it was that night. And you can go. And I spoke to the woman who runs it about 2 or 3 years ago, and she's a really nice person. They have a gift shop and stuff. And anyway, check it out sometime. The Surf Ballroom. That's about it. Thanks for listening in. If you have any ideas about what you like in terms of rock and roll, we send them in, and we'll talk about it on the air.
Reach us at seriousrocktalk@yahoo.com. That's correct. Yahoo. The more easier email.
It really is. And thanks again for listening in. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.
Signing off, I'm Ferris Kennedy.
Dr. Ian Clark.
Have a good night. Until next time.
Bye-bye.
Oh, hello.